So, lovely to see some familiar faces too. Phil reminded me this morning that the book, my new book, How to Meditate Without Even Trying, starts off with lines from The Who, from Tommy. I don't know how many of you loved that album. Yes. And there's, when he wakes up, there's that song, I'm Free. And he starts off, if I told you what it takes to reach the highest high, you'd laugh and say nothing's that simple. But you've been told many times before, messiahs pointed to the door, but no one had the guts to leave the temple. Pete Townsend was really into Maya Baba, and that was where he was, and it's like always struck with me. And I think with many other people. I was talking to someone a couple of hours ago who I hardly knew, and I said I was coming here, and I mentioned these lines from Tommy, and immediately she started just quoting them straight out. She just, those lines had just sunk in. And of course, later in the song, he says, I'm free, and freedom tastes of reality. So, let's start there. I think what happens is we complicate things. If you look at all what I consider to be the great teachers, they've always put it very, very simply. Like Buddha, after his 6 years of studying with all these different yogis and teachers at the time and nearly starving himself to death, just trying everything, when he sat down and had his meditation where he awoke, he just realized it's just, just got to stop clinging. It's letting go of attachments, letting go of clinging. That's simple. I mean, it's not that simple, but it is in a way. That's what I want to look at. It can be done at any moment. But then what we do is, and I think this has happened to just about all great spiritual teachers, the teaching gets absorbed by the culture of the times, and bits get lost, bits get misunderstood, bits get added. And the culture of the times that the teaching is appearing in is an unawakened culture. And so a lot of unawakened ideas and perspectives and things get sort of added on to the teacher's original message, which is usually just very clear and simple, gets added on, and the whole thing gets more and more complicated. And then that starts becoming a church, religion, whatever you want to call it, where then a lot of dogma arises. This is what you've got to do. This is the way it is, and that becomes the temple that people get in. The temple is, I'm a whatever it is person, and I follow this sannyasa and this and that, and I'm a that, or I'm a non-dualist, and this is what I do. They all become temples, and my opinion is we just got to leave the temples. It's coming back to, as Ram Dass said so clearly, being here now. Just being here now in this moment. And again, a lot of people have been speaking about that, being present in the moment. And yet, it seems very difficult to do. People say, I've tried to do that, but I keep getting distracted. My thoughts, that's one of the most common complaints I think any teacher of meditation hears when people start meditation, or they've been meditating for a long time, is, I can't stop my thoughts. I can't stop the monkey mind, as it's called. I can't stop the monkey mind coming in. And it's like, whoever said you should? It's a completely natural thing. It's going to happen. You ask any meditator, do you find when you sit down thoughts bubbling? And most will say yes, yeah. And it's how do you deal with it, which is the important thing, which we'll look at. But see, what we now know about the brain and what's something called the default mode network, it's completely natural, that when you sit down and you've taken your focus off doing things, that thoughts will arise. I mean, when you're focused on a task, whatever it is, you're focused, and that your attention is there focused on that task. When you sit down and start doing nothing, then what they call the default mode network comes into play. And it used to be thought when they first discovered this, whatever it was, 10, 15, 20 years ago, like this was the brain in an idle state. They now realize it's not idle at all. It's actually a creative phase. It's a bit of, some of it's concerned with your who you are, your sense of self. It's also about, it's looking for things that need attention. So you're going to have all these thoughts arising. It's completely natural. So you're not going to be able to stop the monkey mind. I think that's where a lot of people feel, I've got to stop it, I've got to stop this thought, stop it. And they'll come. And I think the important thing is, okay, what happens when you're in meditation and you realize you've been off on a thought for a while? Even in that realization you've been off on a thought, you become present again. You've woken up from the thought. And you become present to the fact you've been thinking. And then in that present moment, the way I put it is that you just need to step back, let it go, withdraw the attention from it. Ajahn Shanta used to say, don't follow the thought anymore. And that's where we have a choice. We don't have a choice of what thoughts come in or when they're going to come in, but when they come in, we do have a choice not to follow that thought any further. And when you do, here is the present moment again. You don't need to do anything to be present. We already are present the whole time. We're always in the present moment. Everything, all, as you know, all our memories, our fantasies, everything, imagine, they're all happening in the present moment. When people say, I wasn't present, or I'm not in the present moment, what they actually mean is their attention wasn't in the present moment. Their attention was following some story or other, or imagining something in the future, or in a completely different way. It's almost like it's a relief not to be thinking about something. It's a relief. And there's a sense of ease and contentment, but also a sense of clarity. And I don't mean clear thinking. This is not about clear thinking, which is how we often talk about a clear mind. It's just there's a sense, a feeling of clarity. Like when the mists lift, we all live in the Bay Area, we know those things in the morning and the marine layer lifts up. It's like there's a clarity now. You can see things clearly. Through the mist, it wasn't clear. And for me, it's like that. It's just, when I step out of the thought, it's just like, and there's this clarity, feeling of clarity. And I think that it's really important to recognize how it feels when you just come back into being here now. How does it feel? How does it feel? We're so, in our culture, we so easily go to the brain, the mind. What do I think about it? How does it actually feel? And to savor that. Yes, this is nice. And then, we're off again, but it's like, as you keep coming back to that, it begins to just become something you're attracted to. It's like, yes, let me pause for a moment. Yes, it's like coming home, just dropping back home again and again and again. And just, that starts becoming a motivator to do this more often. And the more you get to familiar with this, the more it sort of builds up. It builds up, and it becomes easier and easier to make that choice. I was doing it a few times recently I was sitting in a movie theatre watching a movie and realised, I'm completely engrossed in the movie. And it's like, okay, let me just, still watching the movie, but just pausing that sort of mind engrossed in it. And here I was, watching the movie, and I was actually appreciating it more. And I can actually, I can't remember many scenes of that movie, but I can remember exactly the scene where I actually just opened to the present. It's like that scene is clear in my mind, which I found fascinating. So, just think what else I want to say around this. Yeah, that's my new book is entitled How to Meditate Without Even Trying. It's just like it's the trying, whether it's trying to meditate, trying to stop things happening, trying to get somewhere, trying to keep the attention focused on the breath or a mantra or candle flame or whatever. For me, any of that trying makes the mind focuses the mind a little bit, and you can detect there's always a very slight, almost imperceptible sense of tension that comes there, because as soon as the attention is focused, there's a feeling of tension. And in fact, as Rupert often points out, Rupert Sparrow, attention and tension come from the same root of stretching. Tension is something that's stretched. There's tension in an elastic band when it's stretched. But attention, it comes from the same verb, just attendare, which means to stretch towards. So when we're focused, our attention is stretched towards something. And that has this little tiny, imperceptible bit of tightness in the mind. And for me, meditation is just allowing the mind to completely relax. Just allowing the mind to relax. Which means allowing the attention to relax. That's the key thing. This is a whole other story, but I think we overlook what attention is and the role of attention. But for me, meditation is just allowing the attention to relax. And that's it. When you do that, it's just like, just that, yes. So maybe let's just lead a meditation for a while, and then we'll have time for questions, taking it further, etc. Which I always love. I always think the best bit of any presentation like this is the questions, discussion, where we get engaged with things. But for now, we'll just take 10, 15 minutes. We'll see, just to meditate, and so just adopt whatever position you're comfortable with, you're happy with. And just, for now, I think let's do this as an eyes closed meditation. So just close your eyes. And then take a couple of deeper breaths. And just breathing out with a sigh. It's like, That's a sort of sign to the system that everything's okay. Nothing to worry about right now. So just that, it's okay, I'm here. And as you do that, you probably notice the body just beginning to relax a little bit. You may notice some holding, relaxing, or whatever. And just noticing your experience in the moment, whether it's sensations in the body, some tightness here or there, the movement of the chest as you breathe, maybe some tingling, often some little tingling around the face, places like that. But not concentrating on any of it. We're not focusing on anything particular. It's just what catches the attention. And that includes, feelings that may be there, little thoughts coming in and out, sounds around you. And instead of having a zoomed in attention, just have a more zoomed out. When you have a camera, you can zoom in on something. In meditation, I think of it as zooming out, just getting the wider picture of just here I am, and here's my experience in the moment, whatever it is. And just allowing yourself to relax into that. And as I said, inevitably you will find thoughts drifting in. Maybe you find yourself wandering off on some thought stream. Don't think you've gone wrong. As I say, completely natural. Just when you notice that happening, just choose not to follow that thought anymore. Just to let it go and come back to being more interested in the present moment. Just noticing what's there without trying to focus on anything. Just an open awareness. And wherever your attention may be, just sort of ask yourself, inquire, could it be more relaxed? Could my attention be more relaxed? And noticing any shift that may happen. Not trying to do anything or get anywhere. But just relaxing into this experience right now. And just notice how you're feeling in yourself right now. I mean, is it a sense of ease, some peace, contentment, spaciousness, whatever, some joy. So often we miss noticing how we're actually feeling. So if you notice something like that, just let your attention be with that, how it feels. Almost like just savouring it. Whatever it is, just savour how you're feeling. And what I like to do is just allow an inner smile to be there. You don't have to smile physically, but just like, if you're feeling something like, yes, whatever, just like, a sort of smile inside, your being is smiling. It just allows us to savour how we're feeling more. And now we'll begin to close the meditation. But just in your own time, and just take a brief while just to notice how you are, not rushing out of it. Just completing it for yourself. And then as you return gently to being here in the group, don't rush to open your eyes. Maybe just open them a little bit, let a little light in. Maybe you want to sort of get back into your body, like that's flexing the fingers or toes. Okay. Any comments? How it was for you? Anything you noticed? If we have a mic here, if you could use the mic, please, because then it gets onto the recording. Yeah. Yeah, the mic's coming this way to you.
Well, I've been noticing, because I do a lot of meditation every day, but I'm finding that I don't feel like I need to have any kind of like meditation technique at all, where I started to like open my eyes more. I don't care whether I'm opening my eyes. I don't care whether I'm closing my eyes. And sometimes if I see something really beautiful, like I was looking at these beautiful trees that are like right behind you. And it's just so relaxing to, why should I close my eyes? Because I can look at these incredible trees that are, in this beautiful concave room, and you look very relaxed and the trees look very relaxed. So why not go with it, So I don't have to like close my eyes, I can just open my eyes or close my eyes, whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I notice that like, I don't really notice now the separation between ordinary activities and meditation. So if I'm washing the dishes, I'll just wash the dishes. If I come out of a meditation in the morning, because I do a lot of meditation in the morning now, and then I might just go wash the dishes, and then I don't notice the difference between when I'm meditating and washing the dishes. So I continue the meditation while I'm washing the dishes. And it becomes very pleasant just to feel the water, and the water and how warm the water is, and just washing the dishes. Of course, the only downside of that, and it's not really a downside, is you tend to lose track of time. Because I just spent like 45 minutes washing the dishes. Because it was so much fun, it's like, wow, I washed the one plate and now I put it in there, and it's like, all of a sudden am I supposed to, do some stuff today? And you kind of, Brady's laughing. You kind of forget that you have a thing that you have to do. And there is a issue with losing track of time, because I had a music event I was supposed to go to yesterday, right, where I was on the agenda to play music, to play piano, and I was selected. And I didn't get there in time, so it's like, and so I just ended up at Guitar Center, like looking at acoustic basses, because I completely spaced out so I guess there's a sort of a downside if you get, I don't know, does that happen to you? Sometimes forget to do stuff because you're...
Yeah, but I think that's old age.
Oh. But I did that when I was younger, so I don't know if I have an excuse.
Yes, I'm just joking.
I know.
No, it sounds wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah. And it's, obviously, for yourself, if you find you're getting, find ways, if you've got things to do, set reminders or something to, whatever it is.
I'm doing a lot more. I'm writing a book now about my experiences. And so
Can you use the mic again?
So I am writing a book right now about my experiences. And so I am busier, but when I'm writing, I don't even know I'm writing. I'm just like, oh, this whatever happens, whatever occurs to me when I'm writing,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
start writing it. And then I look back and, wow, that's pretty good. You don't even know that you're writing anything good. Does that happen to you when you're writing? You're just like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yep. So when I reread, I think, yeah,
Not bad.
not bad, not bad. Or, God, that sucks.
Oh, that was awful.
You get both.
It doesn't matter, though. Then you go back.
Right. But that sounds, it sounds wonderful. And that's
It is,
lovely. Yeah. And that in a way is, I think what a lot of the teachers are pointing towards is that being able to, as you get more familiar with just resting in the present, gradually that becomes more of a background to your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is the mic, someone behind you, what's the mic?
So I have a question. So there's the discursive thought that occurs, and there's awareness of that thought, and then there's a lack. Then there's a space where there's no awareness of anything, and the question, there's just aware, just present, but there's still the illusion of separation. There's me and awareness, me being present, me, the universe around me. But there are moments when the me disappears. There's no I anymore. It just is. And that oscillates between that and sort of a place of dullness, where there's the energy there's the energy and the aliveness that occurs when there's just presence, okay? But there are times when there is just no presence, but also there's a sense, there comes a kind of it's not vibrant, you know?
Okay.
And then there's also the experience of the body, but the body is just a thought. You know, it's when I close my eyes, there's no one here. Because it's the eyes that maintain the illusion of something existing. You know what I'm saying? And it's sort of like the body may appear as a sensation that occurs, but it's not. It's empty too. It's just a space. It's just space that's being aware of a certain sensation that may occur, may not occur. You know. But
Okay.
how do you move from the place of I am experiencing this, or this is all occurring, but there's still thought, to just empty space? You know, just there's no separation between me and there's no. It's like I had this experience this morning when I realized that everyone is just me.
Everyone is
just me. Everybody is just consciousness occurring. And there's no me. There's no personality structure anymore.
interesting. Several things. The dullness. Could you be okay with the dullness?
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. Okay. Because, I mean, I think it's... If that's what's happening, that's what's happening. So it may not, be as vibrant as other times, but that's how things are. Just like this is how the moment is for me right now.
Right.
So, because I noticed, I felt there was a sense of like, this isn't quite as good. The dullness isn't quite as good as it was, how I was 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Yeah. The whole thing about self, it's so tricky. I mean, you can get easily caught up in ideas about things. And yes, I understand what you're saying about the self just drops away, or the sense of an individual self, the sense of, for me, the sense of Peter Russell, blah, 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 just isn't there. But then you say, but in that, when that drops away, even in the stillest of states, and just when there's just emptiness, for me, I would say there is still an awareness of the emptiness. Its awareness hasn't stopped. There's still awareness of the emptiness. And in that, there's a sense of, that for me, the sense of I has shifted, or it's been released. You see, we have this sort of sense of an individual self, right, which we live with, most of us, most of the time, which is great, it's important, it helps us get through the world. And it gets dressed up in stuff, often with what we're doing, whatever thoughts. Now, there's just the self, when you just drop back into beingness. I mean, one way I put it for me is like, without even putting words to it, it's like, here I am, without solidifying the sense of I at all, here I am. Now, what I find interesting is that sense of I that's in the amming. I call it I even drop the word I. There's just amming, just being. First person of the verb to be is amming. It's the same feeling of I, which is the egoic I, which is caught up in stuff, and I'm doing this, and I'm thinking this, and I want this. If you look at it, it's that exactly the same. For me, it's the same, that deep sense of I-ness is the same. But it's just, now I'm there. We don't have the right words for it, but just say in it, without all the overlay of it. And so that's why I say, I feel that sense, that deep sense of being gets dressed up in all this stuff. But it's the same thing underneath it all. And so it's not, for me, discovering a different sense of self. It's becoming clearer on, even a sense of self. I mean, words are wrong here, but it's a clearer, any word is tricky, a clearer awareness of my beingness. Sort of points in the right direction.
Because sometimes when you drop in deeper, what becomes aware of is body tension, or even emotional overlay that may have been present to it. You know, it's almost like clothes that have been worn for so many times and years and years and lifetimes and stuff. And then it's like dropping beyond that into this space of kind of like no one. Yeah.
I jokingly sometimes say this is the opposite to the emperor having no clothes. The emperor has a lot of clothes, but there's nothing underneath. There's no emperor in there.
There's no emperor
just,
in there, no. Anymore.
And we're looking for the emperor in there the whole time. As a thing, we want the self to be a thing we experience, which gets into all that circular stuff. Am I experiencing my true self? Well, no, because you're not sitting with yourself. You're looking for something else.
Right. That's a good one.
Yeah. Over this direction.
this attention to the word attention. I'm liking that. Because for me, it's almost like when I want to bring my attention to what is, there's a tricky line because the mind just wants to come along and be in the driver's seat and tell me what I'm paying attention to. But very quietly, so I don't really recognize that it's not the mind, but it is. And then there's the attention where I can let go and just have awareness be more of what is attending.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you're presenting it helps me to let go of the word altogether. And I much prefer this relaxing into being. So that kind of just subtle conflict doesn't even have to be on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm really liking that. I did have a little bit of a bumpy thing when you said to bring in an inner smile. So, so it felt like, but wait, that's having an agenda that I'm.
Yeah.
So I had to be careful about what I was doing with that invitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was an invitation, not like be aware. It was like,
Yeah.
if it feels right to you, and I just find it allows me to just appreciate that that beingness, whatever's happened, that quietness. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
not as a sort of thing to do.
yeah, and I'm likely to kind of grab onto it and make it something to do if I'm not careful. So,
Yeah.
so I wanted to name that for myself, I think. And what it did bring to my awareness was that there was what's the word I had earlier? Let me find it. Gentleness. There was a gentleness that was in essence a smile, but not. Yeah. So it's just different languaging, and so the gentleness was just allowing me to drop deeper, and so I'm just appreciating how you're inviting us in this direction.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad she brought up the smile because that was sort of my way in. I love the attendere thing. I've heard that before, and now I can really feel it. You know, a thought is so tense, and it's pretty easy to release the thought, but the body doesn't. The body has its own little attendere, you know, like a slight toothache or the chair's too hard, you know, and it's a little harder to release those. So I guess the question is, how do you approach that? I mean, I did notice that when I smiled, the body let go a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you enter the little tug of the toothache or the?
For me, it's the first thing is letting it in. With what happens with things that are slightly disturbing, it could be feelings or feelings in the body. Interesting how you use the word feeling, both for emotional states and for the body. They're closely related. Is to come back to the body. What we tend to do is we tend to push them away. This is, I don't want this, it's not nice, it's interfering in some way. So the reaction was often to try to push it to the edge of our mind in some way or another. And I think what's valuable is to do the opposite. and really let it in. It's like, okay, what's this discomfort in the body? What's it like? What's going on? What's the toothache like? How big is it? How strong is it? Whereabouts is it? How much of the jaw is it infecting? That you become interested, become really interested in it. Not trying to change it, just letting it be. And very often I just find it's like it just softens and isn't important anymore. And I think often it's the resistance to things that we don't find distracting or not find completely enjoyable. The resistance is part of it, or probably the major part of it, is we're resisting it, and that creates the tension. I always think any discomfort, pain or anything is a signal from your body being something that needs attention. And what we tend to do is push it away. We don't like it. But it's asking for attention. It's a bit like having a fire alarm go off and you put a blanket over it because you don't like the sound. It's just, it's asking for attention. And so give it attention. And I found so much value in that, and so much happens just by giving it attention.
Yeah, sorry, even if the attention is more thinking about the toothache.
If the attention is thinking about it, drop it. Drop the thinking about it. It's coming back to the act. See, thinking, in a way, thinking is an experience because we're experiencing the thoughts, whatever's going on. But it's in the head. Is that the real experience is what are you actually feeling, sensing, and the actual experience is always in the present moment. The thinking is what takes us out of the actual experience. So I would say, if you're thinking about it, just see if you can just not follow that thought anymore, just step back and become more interested in what the actual experience is. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I've found with all these sense of amming and all these things can only stay with me if I have a felt sense of the amming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's sort of a mental concept that
Yes.
comes and goes.
Yes.
But when there's pain, the felt sense goes to the pain, and,
Yeah.
to the pieces of the body and
Yeah. Yeah.
the parts, and there's not a sense of the being.
Yeah. You've lost it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's very different. This is easier to deal with for me, even a little more easy to deal with than physical pain.
I think it is for most people, in our culture
Yeah.
particularly. Something's wrong, work it out, think about it, do something. Like our reaction is to go to thinking most of the time. What's causing this? It's like, when do I need to go to the dentist? Whatever. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, back in the far corner.
What she was saying, I'm noticing that I've been going through this process of the past couple years of finally going beyond my thoughts about everything to actually feeling in my body. And then a lot of it, at first a lot of it was fear right above my belly button, and then it's like, and then not long ago I thought, I have this difficult situation going on at work. I'm 3/4 of a century old and I'm still working, but so I felt fear come up, and I thought, I don't want to feel that. I do not want to feel that right now. And it went away. But then 2 days later, I woke up in the morning, and my left knee was just 3 times bigger. It just totally had swollen up. And I think there may be a connection between me not wanting to feel my emotions and having this show up physically. And so I've been working with that for a while. But then fast forward to yesterday, I was having a good Saturday, easy day, and all of a sudden, near the end of the day, afternoon, I got panic. I just got all of a sudden just panic out of nowhere, and it kind of in my solar plexus or whatever, and I thought, for the first time, I thought, no, I don't want to feel that, but it's not like I wasn't allowing it. It was just changing my mind, telling my mind, some part of my mind telling another part, let's not go there right now. I mean, there's just a lot to go through for me. There has been to get to the place of allowing myself to be in the silence. And a lot of how I know that I am is like right this second, I start crying. And so there's this crying is like this release of the emotions quicker than just trying to talk them away. So I'm just having to decide that this process of allowing more quietness in my life, allowing the silence, it feels like this lifelong path rather than, but I do think it's what I want to do, is along with the, saving the earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do when I'm struggling with all these different aspects.
Yeah. Again, what I'd be saying is, rather than trying to sort of cancel it, is accept it's there. Accept this is there. There's fear. There's panic, the first thing. And I talked about, noticing what's going on in the body, but usually with fear or panic, fear particularly, panic maybe not quite so much, there's a story going on in your head. There's a story about something. You're fearful of something. And just check it, what's the story that's going on with me right now? What is it where is it? What am I afraid of? Sometimes you may not even identify it, but often it's you see what the story is. And again, once you see what the story is, you can sort of say, well, is that story really true or not? It's part of just the letting go of the story. Because, when you're in that, there's nothing to fear. You're living in a fairly peaceful society, living a comfortable life. There's nothing, you don't actually have any fears except in here. So much of our fears is really self-created. And so just think, what's the story here? What's the story? Panic, I say, is a bit different because panic tends to be more visceral. It's like it's a greater emergency thing, the panic. Yeah. There's probably some story behind it. I say with panic, I would go back to the body. Okay, How's it feeling in the body? What's happening? Opening up to it. Even though it always seems the wrong direction. You want to get rid of it, go to it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes when I do have an opportunity to get quiet, like someone's mentioning doing the dishes, and this thought comes up, this rebellious thought comes up, well, how am I going to benefit from silence? It's like, oh, shit.
This is, some thoughts are useful, some thoughts are just a waste of time. Yeah. And the more we can recognize those and just say, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Being willing to quickly let things go and just pass on by, fly on by. Yeah.
That's why, I've always, not always, but over time come to reframe letting go as letting in and letting be. And then the letting go happens. So it's not so much that letting go is something you do, but it's something you facilitate. And for me, that letting in and letting be facilitates a natural letting go. Because you're giving it attention, which is really what it wants.
Right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, over two. I think you were first. What? No, it's for the recording. Unless you're talking loud into this one, it won't go on the recording.
You talk about watching the breath. You talk about relaxing to the present moment and the awareness. In my practice, I come to the moment of awareness, very clear. And then gradually there's a dip in the awareness. I can only think that my brain has gone from alpha into theta. That's the only thing I can try to understand it. So there's a dip in the awareness, and then I'm gone. I know I'm not asleep because I'm still sitting erect, and I've tried doing standing meditation. I never fall over. And that completely blank moment can be a few seconds. Sometimes it can be minutes or even longer. And then the moment the awareness comes back, there's a very clear demarcation. 1 minute is absolutely nothing. Then all of a sudden a thought flew into my awareness. Mm-hmm. It could be anything. And then I'm aware I am the thought, then I'm aware I'm back in the body. Mm-hmm. And then I come back to my 5 senses. Mm-hmm. I have never really talked about this to anyone. So can you explain that a little bit?
Not sure I can. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I can explain it. There's a variety of experiences or where things go in meditation. And my first reaction is that sounds like your meditation is clear. You're not trying. You're just dropping into that emptiness. Yeah. So, what is it that worries you?
I'm sorry.
What is it that worries you about it?
I didn't hear you.
What is it that worries? Does something worry you about it?
No, it's not worrying me. It's just. I guess the thinking mind wants to understand that.
Well, it's clearly when you're in that state, the thinking mind has completely stopped.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
which is like, and you know, different things can happen, but when that happens for you, when the thinking mind completely stops and your attention is relaxed, you just drop into an emptiness in which you're not even aware of the emptiness. You know, that's clearly what's happening.
And then there are times when,
Oh, use the mic, please.
there are times when, in that moment of pure awareness, I can feel my heart vibrating, like somebody throw a pebble into a lake, and
Yeah.
vibration just expand, and the tears will come for no reason. I wasn't even sad. It's just come and come and come and come. Sometimes it's bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds fine to me. Even if, you can't completely understand what's happening, it sounds absolutely delightful. Yeah. Carry on. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're not doing, carry on not doing that. Sorry, just playing with words, but yeah. So, you want to say something?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm sitting there listening to people, and it occurs to me that, like, each person is mostly talking to themselves, and they're asking for a question to be answered by themselves. Do you ever feel like that when you're sitting up in front of people and they're asking questions, and you see that it's more of a, it's not like there is some dialogue, but it's more about what their world is like, and maybe you're trying to interpret a little bit and offer some interesting things to offer them, but yeah, I was curious, what's that like for you?
Well, going by your statement, what's it like for you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a good question. There's a line from a Walt Whitman poem, I can't remember the name of it, but it says, "I contain multitudes."
Mm-hmm.
And more, I'm kind of aware of, like, the self is not a unified, monolithic entity or thing.
Right.
It's just something that emerges in every moment. And a lot of times there's, like, with repetition, with interacting with, familiar people or situations, there's like a template that gets inscribed in the brain. And it just starts to, the experience feels dull after a while.
Yeah.
So, how does one kind of keep a sense of newness and aliveness when
Right.
your mind is sort of naturally geared towards just wanting to have this sort of familiarity and, have things, that semblance of knowing what's going to happen. Is that enough for you to go on?
Yeah. I was just...
Yeah.
How it is for me, in terms of what you're talking about and people asking questions.
Yeah.
Yes, I see very often it's something which is not, the question is seeking their own maybe resolution or understanding, and I see my role facilitator. If I can answer questions in a way that are helpful and the other person feels that's helpful, great. If they get insights, whatever. If they don't understand what I said or whatever, I just, you know,
What can you do? Yeah.
all I'm doing is responding in the
Yeah.
way that feels right for me at that time. And I love it.
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier. I love questions because it becomes live. I'm not giving a talk, although it may lead to me giving a talk on some little thing here and there. But it brings us together.
I agree. It's a different experience for me. That, you know, listen to it in my head, in the silence, the interiority of my mind, and then when I speak about it, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
It's like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it's kind of a little like, what? Yeah, that sense of uncertainty is just, it's like a aliveness that is really amazing. And
You wanted to...
yeah, you're laughing. Go ahead.
What's the time?
I almost forgot what I was going to say. So it's just more fun when you don't know what's happening. As soon as you decide to try to figure out what's happening, you know, like if you draw attention to yourself, try to analyze your experience, you see how immediately muddled you get, right? As soon as you try to talk about yourself. I do. If I try to say, oh, this is how I feel, or this is what. So what I do, I try to find a way to express gratitude. Like during my meditation, okay, what am I thankful for? And that takes the attention off yourself. Because if you're going to just sit there and talk, oh, I feel this way or I feel that way, oh, this is what happens to me, I go into this deep place, I come out, but I don't understand what's going on. You know, so it gets kind of crazy when you start to analyze your experience. As soon as you start to analyze your experience, it's always confusing. Whenever I used to do that, I was like, really? Because none of that makes any sense.
No.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
And so you're just going through this muddle. It's like being in a puddle of dirty water.
Yeah.
And wash your feet.
Yeah. But analyzing your experience.
Analyze your experience. It's just a total waste of energy, right?
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole that you go in,
Yeah.
and you get muddy and you get dirt all over yourself. Just go take a bath or jump in some clean water and rinse yourself out and get on with your life. You know,
It's just the mind coming in, trying to work things out.
yeah, and you can't because there's no into it. You're going in a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the rabbit hole doesn't, so maybe like just expressing even a single moment of gratitude and it breaks the chain.
It does. Because gratitude is not an egoic
No.
emotion. The ego has pride, but gratitude, you're grateful for what has come to you. The
Right.
ego is proud of what it has done.
And suddenly you start enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Suddenly.
But in the end, for me, it just comes back to this simple thing of just letting it go, and how does it feel to be here without all that going on, and just that taking away that veil and just appreciating.
You're just expressing gratitude right there.
That's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I can be grateful for that, yes, but not getting caught up in it. Yeah, gratitude almost everybody will say that it's a wonderful thing to do in your life, to be grateful. Yeah. It's so healthy, so healthy. And there's, an infinite number of things we can be grateful for. I started keeping a gratitude journal for a while, and then it's like,
too many things.
It's like, okay, it's exploding. It's exploding.
Right.
Oh, this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this sense of complexity.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember I was a speech and language specialist. I also worked in hospitals. I did medicine for a while, but then I became a speech therapist. And I remember just working with kids that had R problems, and I'd say, Johnny can't pronounce his R. Principal would sign it. By the time I retired, and I'm not exaggerating, I had to write a 22-page report for Johnny Can't Pronounce his R. And put it on some master computer. And I find that when I listen to people describe their jobs, like, it's like, really? Even like just working at a cash register at Pete's Coffee, just to order one simple order. You and I remember when you had the cash register and you just push 2 buttons and
So what's happening with you right now?
happy.
What's happening?
What's happening?
Well, you see-
I feel I'm perfectly able to see the absurdity of life and remain
right.
happy.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
I don't feel at all troubled by any of the things I'm saying.
Right. But I was just reflecting, how much are you into a story? Things?
Here's the interesting thing. I had a hypothermia not too long ago, and I kind of fell into a lake, and I actually died for about 5 minutes, and I had to come back. So right now I'm writing a book called Rhythmic Mirror, and I'm telling a lot of stories, but I feel like the stories are just discarding my old self. I don't mind the stories, as long as I don't believe the story. It's okay. I like stories. I was wrote plays.
Okay, yeah.
Poem stories are fine.
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with stories?
Nothing at all, except where we started, when we get
Caught
caught up in a story, we're not fully here.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not experiencing this moment.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go down, then you go down the rabbit hole.
Right, and really, what we're talking about here,
Yeah.
and in terms of really this whole series of talks, is how do we actually become more present, more recognizing our essence. And again and again and again, the thinking mind comes in because it loves to come in because it thinks things are important, and they're interesting, fascinating, whatever. And every time, we're not just relaxing into this.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got to say, really. I could have said it all in one sentence at the beginning and walked out of here. But
Well, you don't need to write a complete report like I had to do when I was in speech therapy.
yeah,
I just find it, I find it humorous that there's complexities out there everywhere.
Oh, yes.
I don't find it anything that interferes with my meditation or interferes with my ability to be present at all.
Right.
But it is a form of awareness to notice how
Of course.
complex everything is.
Of course.
I mean, you'd have to be kind of blind and not notice
Right.
how complex everything's getting and how people are speeding up. People stand in line, sometimes they ask me if I'm in line. I'm in line, right? You notice that? Are you in line? You're obviously in line.
Right. I mean, I'm with you. I find all that stuff fascinating.
I find it funny.
And what I find just even more valuable for me in my life is being able to step out of that.
Yes.
And that's the skill I'm working with on myself, and just find it refreshing and valuable, and just coming back to here, being here now.
And the more you do it, like you're doing it all the time, the more...
Well, I'm not doing it the whole time, no.
Well, okay.
Number one, declaration number one, I'm not an awakened, enlightened being.
Yeah.
So,
No, fine.
I'm not doing it the whole time. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
But it gets easier, right, for you?
Yeah, it does. It gets easier, and it gets simpler and simpler and simpler, which is why that line from Tommy.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. If you realize what it takes to get the highest, well, nothing could be that simple. And that's been, over the years, for me, it's just it gets simpler and simpler and simpler, and removing all the trappings, all the dogma, all the other thoughts, all the teachings I've absorbed. It's just like,
it's a clearing out, right? It's like
it isn't even a clearing out.
Are you emptying
Not
things?
even a clearing out.
No?
It's just coming back to
Okay.
this, coming back to this, and being open to how it's feeling. There's also something over the back there was before you, Philip. Okay.
Yeah, something I've realized recently is I have to slow everything down. It's like at a digestible pace. Or else it's just kind of trouble for the body and the mind and everything. And so if I let myself do that, I'm more likely going to stay present. But once I take the bait, it's almost like taking the bait and running with the story to either be, I don't know, smart or funny, or I'm totally invested in it, I'm down a rabbit hole, something.
Yeah, but that is so that we can go out into the world and practice what we're learning.
Mm-hmm.
So the world is the same. It's just when we sit down, it's like a little concentrated exercise in doing that. We go out into the world, it's like, oh, there I was off on that thing again. Okay, thank you. Come back.
Yeah, you know, I don't actually see my meditation practice along those lines translating into the everyday life as much as I would like to see it translating. In other words, catching myself halfway through a thought or a story and saying, do I really need to stay there? But I think what I'm finding for myself is just allowing myself to take a breath every 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I have choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's much nicer to be present instead of spinning out and going nowhere fast.
Mm.
Yeah.
What I do is I have little stickies or bits of paper with tape on them, just with the word pause, P-A-U-S-E, just that word pause.
Yeah. Mm.
And they're, taped on walls or places. And whenever I pass one or see one, usually, sometimes I ignore it, it's just like, thank you, and I just stop and just take a deep breath, relax, and just notice where my head was going, where my thoughts were going, and just coming back and just for 5-10 seconds, just and then getting on with things. I have to keep moving the notes because I habituate to where they are and I don't see them anymore. So, you have to learn to where you post them and things.
Right.
In surprising places. That's the thing, in surprising places. You open a cupboard door and it says inside pause.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, just to remind me, because we do.
Totally.
We get so caught up in stuff, and just to have that break in the middle of things. And it's always, or nearly always, I see one of these notes between tasks. Because I have one on my staircase at the moment, which actually does catch my attention a lot. Every time I walk down the staircase, I'm moving from one task to another. And it's like, okay. And it's just that little bit of just letting go, being present. And and other times, it's almost any time between tasks, but I need the reminders, but between tasks is a real opportunity. I mean, another one is getting in or getting out of the car. Getting in the car before you start it, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, just breathe out.
It's pretty simple.
Very simple. And see, they become triggers. Getting out of the car as well. I've got somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's good too.
Got somewhere. Getting out of the car. Rather than getting out and rushing off, you can always afford 10 seconds.
Pause habits. They're pause habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always afford 10 seconds of just stopping.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
Phil, you wanted to say something.
I'm just feeling into today and several times you've been saying stop, and as I stop, and you were speaking to like the quieting or the relaxing of the mind and the relaxing of the body, kind of going together, and then being out in the world, which I guess there is a desire to be less guarded, to experience less stress in life, and it shows up so much in the world, and it's often about thought, thinking of, oh, what if this happens or that happens, and projecting on other people or scenarios, and I'm really wanting to say that I'm having an experience of like, oh, the more there's a relaxation, the more there's an ability to receive the world. It seems like often there's not even any reception of what's actually happening in the world, like in an environment with others. That there has to be some kind of a space for that, or yeah. Not sure if I really have a question.
No.
Or just an observation.
Yeah.
To notice something. Notice that that there's more room, and it's more pleasant. I mean, I guess there is a question in that if it's natural, I'd like to believe or think that it will, as there's more relaxation, just that resting becomes easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you begin to recognize it. The more you practice, the more you recognize that state of just... I like the word contentment. But this is what I call the natural mind. This is the mind in its natural state, is one of feeling at ease, contentment, good, okay, whatever, many words we can put on it. That is completely natural. But what happens is that state gets disturbed by something that's interesting, some concern, something, whatever, an experience, a thought. That natural state of mind gets overshadowed. It's there, but it's no longer appreciated because your attention is now on the world, this stuff, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. Your attention is out there. But it's completely natural because I would say, I think many people have said this, the fundamental motivation of everybody, when you get below, why do you do this, why do you do that? The fundamental motivation is to feel okay. To feel okay, whether you call it peace, happiness, joy, quiet, stillness, good, whatever. That's what we're all looking for, ultimately. And you find everybody said that ultimately. The Dalai Lama, in the final analysis, the hope of every person is simply peace of mind. Now, something comes along and needs attention, or there's something amiss in our life, like we're feeling cold. The natural reaction for that is discontent. We're not happy with feeling cold. That discontent is the motivation to go and do something, to turn up the heating, put on more clothes, whatever it is. So the motivation is always to do something to return to that state of feeling okay. And so that's the natural function. We get discontent about something, we remedy it, we come back to contentment. And if you look at animals, that's the way they are most of the time. Dog sees a cat, gets alert, or the cat gets... A minute later, it's like, here I am again. watching the world go round. So that's the natural thing. And there may be, I don't know, a few % of the time where that's an appropriate reaction, but we create discontent for ourselves. Always we're creating discontent in one way or another because there's something we need to do or whatever it is, or avoid or say, or whatever it is. Underlying it is a self-created discontent. And that discontent is veiling the contentedness. So a natural state is contentment, but we get into self-created discontent. And it's really just is letting go of that will allow us to come back to that natural state of contentment. And I see that's for me is what meditation is about. And there's a lot, of course, that follows from that. But it is completely natural. And that's where we want to be. Sometimes sort of half joke, I call this a sad joke about humanity. We're so busy wondering how to be at peace in the future. We don't give ourselves the chance to be at peace in the present moment.
Yeah, it's a sad joke.
So
It's a sad joke.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like, this is why I think, I think all of us, we want the world to awaken to get this. Can't you see what a, vicious
Hurtling forward with
we got ourselves
new
caught in.
new gadgets and new
Yeah.
technology.
Oh, always looking ultimately for a way, what to do, what to get, whatever it is, in order that we can go back to contentment. It's like, no. You don't need to do anything. You just need to stop what's getting in the way, stop what's veiling that natural state.
So I'm just curious, because this is happening kind of real time. Just here, I can feel my nervous system, and it could be the caffeine that I had earlier, but really like buzzing and I think I'm even closing my eyes because it feels like it's all about input overload.
It's what?
Input overload.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's not coming from my mind, I'm sure it's playing into it. But and maybe it is just being with the nervous system. I guess I'm curious about your experience when you're playing with this, and
When I'm what?
when you say you're working on this, you're playing with this, you're opening to just being. It seems like as you open, the energetic input increases, and because of the conditioning here over the nervous system, I think the conditioning is to resist or respond. It's like even as much as I'm like, okay, open, soften, it's still doing its thing. And that's okay in the moment, and I'm going to get tears because there's something that wants to get beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for voicing that.
Yeah.
and just noticing what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard not for the mind to come in and be like, why is this happening?
I know. And we're so trained, in the mind. Our whole education system is about mind and not about feeling. It's our culture. It's where we go by default, working out what's going on, what needs to happen, all in the service of how do we feel good again, in one way or another.
And is it just continually to be with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kent wants to say something.
Hi, Peter. Feels like I get a sense, I think I know some from your history, that you have been down a few roads, certainly in the meditation, different traditions, different experiences, different ways for a fair number of time, and fairly deep in the experiment with those. And I get the sense from what you're offering is that you're you talk about the cultural aspect of the traditions or this or that there's an interest in really, especially as we find these traditions largely came relatively recently into the West, and we have our whole cultural baggage. Mm-hmm. And how do we bring these, which were represented in very cultural forms, how do we, my favorite analogy for all of this that we're certainly open circle, what we're trying, what's the baby from the bathwater? What is the real essence, and what can be let go of, and what is vitally important? And so, in your and I feel like you find the meditation is one of those elements that you find is a real baby. But I don't know anything you say about that. But I'm also interested in: is there any place? I don't get a sense that you're saying you're from a certain tradition, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But is there a family, or are there other brothers, and that you find? Where do you find that inspiration, or how much has it come from your letting go of the others? And I imagine it's but
yeah.
Anyway, how does that all sift out for you?
Okay. I don't feel I'm part of any tradition. I mean, my journey, I've had various teachers who I've been grateful for from different traditions, and learnt from all of them in some way or another. So I think what I'm doing in my own life is looking for what is that essence in all the traditions. What is that spark that set them off? And to explore that in my own life, and what I discover, share that. So I'm an experimenter, and I think that's part of my scientific training, not to accept anything because somebody says it. So you see what others feel, you experiment. So I've always been one to just take what any teacher says as, okay, yep, that's interesting, but not to believe it. I think belief really gets in the way. We can have working assumptions, interesting points of view, but to say, this is the truth, for me, is we're getting ourselves lost. We're stuck in some ism or other. And so my own meditation journey has been one of exploration, trying different things and learning from them, getting great value from some of them, and I got a lot of value from Buddhist teachings, but Advaita teachings, and I've always been fascinated by what is the root of what was Christ saying, that sort of thing. I'm just interested in all of that. And just experimenting. And so I think a lot of what I have written about has all come through my own practice. And I've been on a meditation retreat. It's like, okay. So one thing I noticed, for example, was how the slightest, was touched upon, the slightest thinking creates tension, and then exploring that and working with that in my mind, and then looking at how can I soften that. So it's been an ongoing experiment for me. There's something else. Something else I want to get to, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
Well, I'll throw something else out, and maybe you'll. No, I don't know what that is. Where was I? You have this. How do you feel about the? You've also probably run across a guru or two,
yeah,
or a tradition or two that does have that sort of, let's say, not the scientific outlook, where it is very belief, and you capture onto something, and if you can find something that you can project, and it feels like you're offering a little bit. I don't want to call it a non-guru approach, but it's a very it's just being a regular person, which is somewhat a relief for some of us who've been around this a bit. There's something really refreshing that it's something that it's not like you have to have this magical experience and you can sit up on the throne and tell people how to become, but you're giving very practical.
Yeah.
There's something, but you're pointing at something really, you're pointing at something essential, and it's coming from a long history. And maybe that's one of the ways us in the West, something very practical, and something very, that you're not putting yourself on a throne above, but you are sitting up there, and you are offering what your experiments have led to, and giving us some support. So that tricky blend between those two.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I definitely am offering a non-guru approach. Definitely.
Yes.
I think we can get trapped in gurus. Not to say that there's a lot of wisdom there, and I've listened to a number, and that's really influenced me and helped me in ways, insights. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be sitting here. Mm-hmm. So I respect other teachers, definitely. What I'm against is following a teaching in a way that becomes a temple. As I started off saying, it becomes a temple, and we don't have the guts to leave the temple. We're then in that particular temple. And what I want about my aim in a way is, as I said, partly to distill what is the essence of all the world's spiritual teachings. What is that underlying spark? That's part of it. And the other part is to share what I discover, just because I think it'll be helpful for other people. And I don't have any great theory, any great philosophy. I've let go of all spiritual philosophy now. It's like, I don't know. I love non-duality, but I see how people get very stuck in certain ideas about non-duality. It becomes its own temple. So I don't feel I adhere to anything, but I just think the important thing is to give people steps to help, practical things to do in their practice that will just help them, as I see, helping them in their journey, which is fundamentally becoming more present. And so much follows from that. Mm-hmm. So that's basically where I am.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
And I'm not a guru. I'm just, you know me.
Yeah.
You know me. I just here I am, and if people find this valuable, great, and whatever.
Well, in some ways, guru is just no big thing. It's just bringing some light on something. So in some ways, it's in a very light way, we can all be gurus in a certain way.
But I don't want to be put on any pedestal.
Exactly. No pedestal.
No pedestal, because I don't justify it. I've got my own shit.
Don't we all?
But if what I've discovered can be helpful for people, I love sharing
It's
it,
beautiful.
making a contribution in my own way.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
I just realized, is template and temple, they're like etymologically about the same, right?
What?
Template and temple, break the template, get out of, leave the temple behind.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Just a coincidence.
Maybe I'm just, imagining.
Anyway, I just...
Template is clearly something.
Well, it's
from
like
yes, but it's part. I think temple. I think you'd find
I
think you'd find them different. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
My expectation is that you'd find they have very different roots.
I'm just free associating here.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I love etymology. I love it. Just seeing what the words originally meant. Yeah.
I also, something Kate said about the kind of like input overload, and it's like I often have had that experience, and it's like this existential dread or fear, and I can't even really put a name to it or identify it, but it's something that's like sort of defined my life in a lot of ways, and like how can one meet that and let it go? I mean, without trying to analyze it to fucking death. There's just like, it doesn't really matter where it came from or why it's there. It's just there. Mm-hmm. So I can, the nervous system just can, just gets, triggered and, flooded with that kind of, mine does, this kind of energy. And then, I just sort of like shut down. But I can't stay shut down, At some point I've got to like move through it in some way. Yeah. And it hasn't been meditation. And actually, kind of these kinds of gatherings and being able to just be authentic and, speak from that experience and have it be heard and accepted, validated and free. I hate that word, validate. It feels freeing, to just, for me, just like,
I think,
Go ahead.
You recognize, the stuff that you get into, and then I think a really, really critical thing is recognizing we have a choice whether we want to go down that road or not. At times, it's good to go down that road. Sometimes it's just habit. Sometimes it's getting in the way of something else. But this is what I feel strong about. We do have a choice about where the mind goes, where our thinking attention goes. We have a choice. And we have a choice where the attention goes in the physical world. A lot of the times it's just governed by events and things. But it's like coming back to this choice. We have a choice whether to continue with a thought or not. And again, I think we make ourselves victims of the thinking process. We just allow it to go on. We go from one thought to another. But to recognize there's that choice to pause it. That to me has become such an important thing. That's why I have these notices saying pause. Just to remind me I can make that choice to step out for a moment.
I'm feeling resistance in my mind about the idea of choice. It's,
That's okay.
that feels, I know, of course, but it's like I'm just noticing, I'm just speaking to what I'm noticing at this moment.
Yep, okay.
Because like, is there anyone to own the choice? Is there anyone to?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, that's a whole other. Yeah. Okay. We can go there. Ultimately, no.
No. What?
There wasn't anybody there to make the choice.
Make a choice.
It happens.
It's kind of a conundrum.
But it's something. It is
Exactly.
There's an area here which I'm fascinated by, which I'm still working on it in terms of understanding what is happening.
Yeah.
And it's coming back, attention. I was saying attention is an underexplored aspect of consciousness. And I don't see it talked about a lot when people talk about the nature of consciousness. And it seems most of the time there is this panorama of experience. What's happening in the physical world, my body, what's happening in my mind, the feelings. There's this whole whatever is going on. And attention is like the spotlight shining on some particular aspect of our experience. Right now it's on your face, but it could be on what I'm thinking, or it could be on, feeling in my chest. So the attention is there. Most of the time it's dragged around by events. I hear a bird song, what's that bird? I start listening, my attention goes there. But the point is the attention, I think, is an intrinsic aspect of consciousness.
Yeah, I agree.
It's absolute. And the attention can be so diffused, or there can be nothing going on and you can just experience blankness and you don't even know it. But it is there. And most of the time we don't have a choice about where the attention goes. There are times when I recognize when I've got off on something or something else, I have a choice. I can make a choice. And that I find fascinating. Now, then the question I'm sort of exploring here, and I don't know any answers to this, but this is what I'm fascinated by. It feels like I am making the choice. It doesn't feel like any ego or any of that stuff. It just feels like my most deepest sense of I is choosing where the attention goes. It can choose where the attention goes. Now we talk about what I want to call it, the pure self, whatever it is, the unconditioned self, just like the naked beingness. And when we normally talk about that, we say it is empty, it is formless, all that stuff which is true, and it is a witness. I don't like the word witness, but it is that which is experiencing the world, and that's all it's doing, is experiencing the world, experiencing experience. It's being aware, all this stuff, not new. But does it also have can it also have an action in the world? And this is what's fascinating me, because we say, it is just a witness, it doesn't do anything. But if it's consciousness itself, to which attention is intrinsic, can direct the attention, then is that how the sort of, whatever we call it, the pure self, actually interacts with the world, or where it chooses to put the attention. Once the attention has gone somewhere, everything else, I'm quite happy to say, is deterministic, pretty much. But is that where real free will lies? Real free will is where my deepest sense of I, where it chooses to put the attention. And that's what I feel in meditation. Many practices is that we're putting the attention on the breath, or whatever, candle flame or some God image. It's like it is putting the attention somewhere. That is a choice. And I'm not giving any, I'm just saying, this for me is what is fascinating me at the moment, and I'm still exploring. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think there's two aspects that come to mind. And I was thinking of what Freya was saying earlier about how she said, I'm just not going to give that my attention, you know. And I think that's a good choice to make, personally. And then, you know, there's plenty of moments that I can recall where it's a good thing I didn't have a choice, because I might not have been able to actually do what needed to be done and to ensure my survival. You know, like I had things happen faster than I could actually consciously comprehend them, and somehow some part of me knew what to do, and I survived. So, and it wasn't like, oh, I think I'll choose this instead of,
No.
It was just boom, I did it.
Most of the time, we don't have any choice. The attention is drawn to this, it's drawn to that. We're thinking about it. We're not choosing. We're, in a sense, at the mercy of attention. But where it comes in, for me, is in meditation. And in the sort of practice I've been offering here, it's that we have a choice whether or not to follow a thought. And that, to me, is fascinating. That we can, and that, to me, is like the core of it all. We have that choice. How free that choice is, I'm fascinated, but I don't know. But that is where it comes up. Most of the time, no. But where we can consciously choose where to place the attention is fundamental.
Agreed. You got something, Phil? Is it time to wrap up?
Just that.
Oh, it is time to wrap up. Yes, 1 minute past. Thank you.
Seems like we can have more opportunities to continue these conversations.
It's just getting juicy now.
That is, isn't it?
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And everyone.
Yeah. I see you brought some books to sell. And,
yes. I'm an author. I have that right.
Indeed. Yeah. So and people can pay with cash or...
Cash, and there's also information up there about PayPal or Venmo and things. Yes.
Okay.
Cash, whatever. There's 3 books I bought, just to briefly. There's the new one, How to Meditate Without Even Trying, which is much more than what we were talking about here, but all among the same theme. And then there's a book I wrote 3-4 years ago called Letting Go of Nothing, which is about letting go. And the nothing is we're not letting go of things, we're letting go of our attachment to things. We're letting go of our perception of why things are valuable. That's the nothing. We're not letting go of things, we're letting go of non-things, which is our perception, evaluation. And then the other book is Forgiving Humanity, which is another ongoing interest all my life of exponential growth and where is it going, and seeing that so much of what we blame human beings for actually comes down to an inevitable consequence of exponential growth and the effect it has on us and on the world. Yeah. And so it's seeing what I see is happening in the world, and in that seeing this is inevitable where we are today. We can blame individuals, we can blame governments, corporations for a lot of the stuff that's going wrong. It's not like no blame. But for humanity itself, we are on this course, and this is the way it's unfolding, and we just forgive humanity in the same way that we forgive each other. You know, it's like we accept. And that's what it's really about.